There is a small chance, Pete has done the research here, that Tennessee wins the division and Jacksonville can still get the wild card.
Right. It's a
Tennessee,
lot of stuff. Right.
yeah, Tennessee can only win the AFC South. If they lose week 18, they are out
Okay.
of the playoffs entirely, so they have no chance at a wild card. Jacksonville still does because they played so well lately. They got the win over the Jets. 19-3 was the final score. They have won 4 of their last 5 games since starting the year at 3-7. Only one other team in NFL history has made the playoffs after starting 3-7. That was back in 2020. The Washington football team. That was a name ago for Washington, so it hasn't happened since they changed their name. That Jaguars are they're a fun team. You know, it's
Agree.
like you talk about a franchise quarterback that's looking like a franchise quarterback right now. If you're the Jaguars, you're like, man, we got something going here. Maybe this year we could squeak into the postseason.
Yeah. I mean, squeak in, be scary. Yeah, of course they're winning. I've stopped picking them to win after picking them every game the first 10 games of the season. Now they're on fire. All right. Now I keep picking them to lose close ones now, and they keep winning them. But that was impressive. And, the one thing I think happened during that game that I was a little worried about is that I picked the Jets to win the game, but one of the things I said during the Picks podcast a little, Ahmed, it was like, the one thing that scares me is Jacksonville's much bigger than the Jets, and they can really overpower them. And I think we saw that. I mean, here's the first thing we got to say. Trevor Lawrence is for sure a top 10 quarterback in football right now, boom. And I'm not so sure he's probably not in the top 7, 6, 7, 8. It's that good to where it's gotten. I mean, it's not only I can run the system, but it's also get on my back and I can carry it through some crazy moments and make plays that are unbelievable. So that's the first thing we got to talk about. But then, yes, the way they executed and just absolutely overpowered the Jets defense. I mean, just went up and down the field on them for the better part of the night. In a night where you knew you could overplay the run to a degree because it was not a pass the football all over the field type of night. And that's where that was impressive. That was impressive. Their defense played really good. And then, of course, the Jets looked like they lost fire as a team, and Zach Wilson and the offense looked like absolute shit.
All right, we'll get to Zach Wilson in just 1 second because I want to give a hat tip to Evan Engram. Used to play his home games in New York. 337 yards the last 3 weeks. That is third most in the NFL behind Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown. You've liked Evan Engram for a long time. It was like, he's got the potential. He could be a big-time playmaker. We just hadn't necessarily seen it for a sustained period of time, and now we are seeing it at the end of the year. What do you think of him being like a legit guy who can help you do a whole lot of other things on offense?
He's got Pro Bowl type physical ability. He's got all pro type physical ability. He's got the type of ability to be one of the 3 or 4 or 5 best pass catching tight ends in football. It's one of those stories, a lot like Zach Wilson, that we're going to talk about in a minute. He needed a scenery change. The New York fan base had got on him to such a point that if he ever made a mistake again, everybody, oh my God, Evan Engram, get him there, get rid of him, get him out of here. Oh, he's the number 1 tight end. Oh my God, it's hard. So he was in a no-win situation. And now he's gotten to a place where, they know how to utilize him in the offense. He's comfortable and he's getting to show his physical ability. I thought there'd be a chance he would have a big night. I did. He was my prop player of the game, right?
Ooh.
For my BetMGM segment, Ahmed, because I thought the Jets might have a hard time with the size of the Jacksonville. They're going to be over aggressive, trying to fill run gaps and overwhelm them that way, which then always leads to the tight end taking advantage of some plays and that over aggressive nature there. And they did a great job of kind of playing to both of those on Thursday night in that dominant win.
That's a smart move in a game that you picked wrong, always to bring up something that happened that you did call in the game there. It's like, I did call.
I know. Yeah, I'm not hedging, but these games are so tight, and I always try to give a little thing that scares me. I picked this game, but this scares me where the game could go the other way. And that was my scare me the other way thing. And I probably should have had more things that scared me the way that looked for the Jets.
So I'm going to read a couple comments here. The first one you've already kind of talked about with the way that New York dealt with Evan Engram and the narrative got so bad. I think CD2K is seeing the same thing with Zach Wilson here. He goes, hello, homies. Hope you were enjoying the holidays as a fan. Likely in the minority among the Jets fan base, I am disgusted with the organization for having allowed certain narratives to fester and metastasize throughout the fan base regarding Zach Wilson. CryptoMug 358, and you can address both of these together if you want, Chris, says, can Zach Wilson turn it around in another system? You've defended him quite a bit, and I agree with you on how the Jets handled his benching poorly, but you can't deny that he's playing bad football. His confidence is gone. He needs a fresh start in a new place. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree. I do still have confidence in him. Again, it's 2 years in the NFL, and he's a guy that was hurt a little bit too. So it's a year and a half. If we just wrote off every quarterback after a year and a half, damn, we would have never saw Terry Bradshaw. We never saw Troy Aikman win Super Bowls. Steve Young, damn, throw him away. Phil Simms. I mean, we've gotten into this point where we just think, year one, you should be a star and take over the league. Like, no, that happens every now and then in special cases. So, yes, there's some problems. The confidence is an issue, and that's where the Jets have caused that. They've caused doubt and lack of confidence from the quarterback. How could he feel confident? How? That was only my thing to begin with here. You're 5-2. You let him play against the Bears the next week. All right. That's where they gain confidence. How can you be confident to where they made you not dress for a few weeks and then think like, oh, they feel good about me and I feel good about myself, and that makes the fan base feel better. So there's a lot of issues here. But yes, it's over. It's over. I mean, Zach Wilson should not want to be here with the Jets anymore. And it sounds like the Jets fans don't want him either. But there's, he has to fix some issues with his mechanics. There's no doubt about that. We've addressed that on other podcasts. And then also on that, I just want to go, the Jets offense has issues. Again, like what were they trying to get accomplished in the game the other night? I don't even know what they're trying to do at times. That would be the thing I would question. So yes, I think it's over for Zach Wilson. They did a horrible job in this situation, orchestrating it the right way, and now they're going to be back in the market for a quarterback, somehow, some way in the offseason.
So Pete has thrown in some examples of quarterbacks who, if you were a homie and you're, born after, 1975, Alex Smith, Ryan Tannehill, Geno Smith, some other quarterbacks who, you didn't see necessarily that playmaking ability until later on. Now, Alex Smith is always what he was, but I think those are other good examples. And because Jets fans would say, well, we've seen it. We've 20 starts. That's more than enough to see, or whatever it is at this point for Zach Wilson.
That's crazy. That's crazy. It's the team wasn't all that good last year and couldn't help them in ways. This year, yes, he's got some issues for sure, but it was a tough situation. He missed the first few games of the year, got thrown in against the best defenses in football, to where they played a style of football that went, let's be conservative on offense, play through the defense. And then they wondered why he can't throw for 350. Hey, now it's time to throw for 350 and win us a game against the Patriots. Oh, okay. Like that's where it's not realistic that way, and there's other issues there too. And so he's got to go back to the drawing board though and fix himself first. There's no doubt about that. But yes, the Jets deserve some of this blame here to go along with it. And now he's just got to find the right spot for next year, be a backup for someone where he knows if he gets a chance, he'll be around some talent and be able to do something. And, I'd love to see him go to Kansas City and be Mahomes' backup or something like that. That's the kind of scenario he'd be perfect for.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.